is certain this is going to be an extremely decisive day. In fact, he thinks possibly the hardest day in the history of the Santos Tour Down Under. Let's have a little look at it, shall we? They climb eastward, right out the sea at the eastern edge of the city, and straight away in pure Tour Down Under mode, straight up the Norton summit. It's a long climb. They've effectively got 16 kilometres. Then that fast descent, long descent off it, down to the first intermediate sprint point in Achunga, and then more sort of undulating up and down through the mid part of the stage, around another 31k loop, going back northwards to take on the final 2 laps of the circuit that includes Notts Hill. There is Notts Hill. In excess of 20% at its steepest point. You can see the stats there, average of 7.5% as well. It is tackled twice. Did a really testy descent, very technical on the run-in to the start of that climb, and then a very fast descent off it, back into Uredla, right the way down to the line. Really, really fast.
More aware of what could happen down here, because these are big gaps, and gaps that will come back together, but gaps you necessarily don't want to have to make the efforts close. Here's the climb.
The first 3 places on general classification last year were separated by only 11 seconds, I'll remind viewers. So this is a race that's so often decided on slim margins, and the margins we're seeing cracking open right now on the descent into the climb could be really important. I think I've just seen the white jersey go through there, Adam, as well, right near the back of that group.
Yeah, Danny Van Poppel, lead out man, stringing things out. Not
he's
for long,
showing his versatility again, though, isn't he? And we've seen him do an awful lot of work today, too. Look at this. Narvaez moving up the outside of him as well.
Yeah, alongside his teammate, Jay Vine.
Yeah, Jay Vine just in front of Narvaez at the moment. We've got Oscar Onley already right up there, winner on Wollonga Hill last year. He has a little look round, so Onley swings off on the left-hand side. There's a little bit of a checking who's made this. Kwiato and Sheffield are both still there for Ineos Grenadiers. Now it's Jay Vine who starts to pick it up. Thank you, Adam, you're right. Javier Romo is the Movistar rider. Oscar Onley looking fairly comfortable on the back of Jay Vine. There is a little gap back to, I think, Zwihoff and Narvaez. Is Onley waiting for something? He has a little look around too. Magnus Sheffield is the Ineos Grenadiers rider on the inside. Get out of the way, trees. Beautiful as you are. We want to see the racing. Yes, here we go. Vine. Now, is Vine setting the pace?
No, he's eased off. He's backed off. There's Kwiato going on the attack.
Yeah,
stringing things out for Sheffield. The less riders Sheffield has around him coming into the finish, the better it's going to be. So just wanting to string things out a little bit. And Kwiato is a man you do not want to let go too far up the road.
He's also taken Remy Rochas with him as well, the Frenchman for Groupama FDG. I thought he might be up to something today.
Chris Harper on the right side, Luke Platt just behind him.
Purple duo just massing at the front. They know there's more to come yet. Rochas looking over his shoulder. Plapp is tucked in behind Harper, who's looked so good in this race so far. Have Ineos Grenadiers had the carpet pulled from underneath them, because they were looking so good in the run into the climb, but now Sheffield a bit isolated up there as well. He's got Kwiato ahead of him though, which could be a nice little stepping stone.
Yeah, Kwiato is a man that I think he's doing that tactically to make things harder, to try and keep the pace on for Sheffield. Sheffield prefer that, so just stringing things out, stopping the bunch from getting too big once again, trying to create those splits even more. So not necessarily a move to win the race, but a move for his team leader.
1,500 metres to the top of what is touted as being the hardest climb in this year's edition, arguably maybe in the history, 25-year history of this race as well. Coming up the outside, big attack as well by the looks of it from Afonso Uelio. Wow, wasn't expecting that. The Portuguese 23-year-old for Bahrain victorious. Not many people will have been watching him, but he's gone off down the right-hand side by himself.
Interesting now what he can hold on to up here. Harper's setting that pace behind him. We saw him do this yesterday, setting such a hard tempo, stringing things out, and he's brought Platt back up. He's just holding this gap at the minute. Plenty of riders still within this group. A couple of riders being stretched out that have not been able to make it back on, but still a group of, what, 20 riders?
Yeah. Aurelio looking over his shoulder. I think he's going to get company. That was a pretty fast acceleration by him there, and he might pay for that. He might not. We'll see. Time will tell. A kilometre now to the top of Notts Hill, up in the Pound Reserve, before the very fast descent to the finish. 6 kilometres once we go over the top to bring us to the finish, and that's going to be a fast and fascinating battle. Possibly an opportunity for others to chase on behind, but we'll see what more damage can be done here. Definitely, if you've got climbing aspirations in this race, between here and Wollonga Hill, you've got to make it count now, I'd say. We have a first category climb coming towards the finish tomorrow, but this is a golden opportunity for the best climbers in the race to absolutely make the most of this. The face of Luke Plapp sitting second wheel. He's definitely working hard now in behind Chris Harper. There is, these are, hang on, this is the leaders here. There's a little click of 5 or 6, maybe 8 riders behind them who aren't too far off, and they might close up again. Let's look at where we are on the edge of this ridge that we've climbed up onto. Aurelio now dropping back down the outside of the group. He's been caught. Oscar Onley sitting on the back wheel of Jonathan Narvaez, who sits on the wheel of his own teammate Jay Vine, just in behind Luke Plapp. We heard the talk potentially before the start about the idea of Plapp going over the top by himself and then engaging that big chain ring to fly down to the finish. Although we're watching the youngster in the field, I think we've just seen a bit of a lifting in there from Luke Plapp, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, an acceleration. Here he is on the front right now. Jay Vine on his wheel, Narvaez behind him. Got Sheffield a little bit further back, but they are gaps slowly opening.
This is what Luke Plapp didn't get to do last year. Apparently he'd been
Over
waiting
the
to
top
do it and then
by
crashed out of the race. But yeah, he's not quite there yet. Jay Vine starts to lift it. Oscar Onley coming now on the right-hand side too. I think Onley looks like he's got another gear to come, and Rémi Rochat now moving up the outside. The Frenchman looking good. Great acceleration from him, and he's going clear. Who's going to follow?
Yeah, that was a hard turn by Plapp, followed by a hard turn from Vine. So Rojas going over the top of that. He must have great legs at the minute. Narvaez just having a look over his shoulder. That's distanced a few riders from that group.
Yeah, Rochas has gone at the perfect time there, and he's got a decent gap as well at the moment. Really good.
Yeah, Bauke in the background, just looking like he's trying to respond to things. It's not as simple as dropping down to the finish either, this Jez. We've got those few little niggles that we spoke about. It looks like Plapp again, looking like he's trying to string things out, close that gap. Little Trek have got a lot of riders in the background there. Narvaez
now Narvaez goes. First time we've seen Narvaez do this. He's got Javier Romo tucked on his wheel, the Movistar man.
Onley now going on the attack. Here's Stevie Williams trying to get back in contact.
This has not been a good day so far for Stevie Williams. These are the cars following. Is that the leading group just in front of these cars? It might be. Trying to spot where he is in the field. Luke Plapp now looking back. Sheffield closing the gap up. Oscar Onley, I think, to me, Adam, Oscar Onley has looked the most comfortable of these riders up here, but he's running out of road to make the most of this.
Yeah, he's running out of road, but there is still opportunities within this, as we see. The Movistar rider, Romo, he's a very fast finisher as well, putting the pressure on a rider that's not going unnoticed, but he's almost slipping under the radar slightly.
Yeah, he's certainly not a name that many people were talking about as a potential winner of this race, but he looked good when he kicked over the top of Mengler's Hill yesterday, and he looks very good again today. Former triathlete Javier Romo made the switch to road cycling and showing off his climbing ability again here. Two of the best time trialists in this leading group, Jay Vine and Luke Plapp combining. No great surprise there, but looking round at each other as well.
It's interesting. I think that was Harper there, maybe.
Sorry, Adam, you're right. It was Harper. You're absolutely right. It was Harper still there.
Which I'm surprised that Harper's not doing that, chasing that down. The same with Jay Vine, really. I think he needs to close that down. He's got Jonathan Narvaez. That's Plapp in the background going on the attack.
Yes,
this is one of these small little niggles we were talking about.
Yes, I was going to say, I'm trying to think what the word was you used, niggles. This is one of those two prominent niggles. The net downhill run into the finish. Sheffield closes up on Plapp. And now Sheffield keeps going in the pursuit of Javier Romo, who leads on this, what we expect will be the Queen's stage. But there's a big sort-out yet to come, because we've got an awful lot of the general classification riders still in play at the front of this race.
That group swollen ever so slightly over the top leg.
Yeah, Lidl Trek have got, what, 4 riders in this group too? Mollema is one of them, Adam, yeah. Those.
5 riders. 5 riders.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, absolutely, 5 riders. Wow. I wouldn't have seen that coming. Romo is still clear, and they're looking at each other back there. We talked about him not necessarily being the name that everyone had been mentioning. Maybe this is an opportunity for him now, in amongst the indecision and the looking around. Chris Harper now goes off by himself. Maybe he'll be allowed a bit of daylight as well if people are looking at Plapp and Plapp's looking back at them saying, well, go on then, I'm not going to chase.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one now, because this is where the road starts to drop down ever so slightly, around 3k to go. That's where it does drop down, so even harder to bring that gaps. If you've got the legs to be able to do so on the climbs, great, but on the descent, it becomes even harder.
It is a very fast run-in from now on. Which one of the Lidl Trek riders? Is that Mollema? It looks like the kind of thing Mollema might do, throwing it down on the descent to the finish like this. It's certainly one of those 5 who are in there. What a ride by Lidl Trek today.
Well, is it? Great performance, but without a result.
Bastien Tronchon is on the back of this group from the breakaway on day 1. 3k to the finish, as you can read for yourselves. And Javier Romo might be riding the way to the biggest win of his career so far, definitely. The Movistar man, racing in stage 3 of the Santos Tour Down Under.
I think watch for the attacks to come over these little dips that come down now. When you go over these little rises, come fast down from the middle. If you can slingshot yourself off the wheel, accelerate over the top of one of the next little bumps, you can bring an awful lot of amount of time back. But Harper getting in that tough position, trying to give his legs a little bit of a break.
Albert Philipsen, the youngest man in the race, the 18-year-old Dane for Lidl Trek, was the first of those 5 Lidl Trek riders there. So Philipsen living up to expectations of him in this race as well. Sheffield. One of the most talked up young riders in this peloton.
It's intriguing that Sheffield's doing the chasing there in such a big group. Everyone looking at each other. I'm so surprised Lidl Trek with 5 riders there is still not doing anything.
Finn Fisher Black is still there as well, as is Remy Rochas. Even after his attacking, he stayed in there. The Groupama FDG man. Picnic post down. Now this looks like Onley having another go, is it? Unless they've got another rider in there that I haven't spotted. Yep, it's Oscar Onley using this gentle little rise. This is the second of your little niggles, your little pesky niggles. He's going for it. He's overlapped with Harper, and there's no response to this. Last year's Wollonga Hill winner, Oscar Onley, is seeing if he can ride right the way back to Javier Romo.
Yeah, it's a great little move there, just into this climb as well, catching everyone off guard ever so slightly. Brilliant move by Onley here, and one when it drops down to the finish ever so shortly. I mean, get onto the wheel of this man and create that gap.
Well, last 1,500 metres now, and this would be a deserving victory for Javier Romo after the way he's taken that climb on. It was a decisive attack.
And Onley, come on Onley.
Look at this, Onley is ripping his way across that gap as well. Not looking back anymore now. This is full commitment. He won't be able to recover from this if he does get caught, I thought, but he has a little look all the same. Who's chasing? It's got to be, using their numbers, Lidl Trek, absolutely. Bauke Mollema, the distinctive rolling form of Bauke Mollema, trying to get his way across as well. He's got a bit of daylight there ahead of Jay Vine. Oh my goodness, this is the finale that we'd have expected. It's better in a way, Adam, than finishing on top of Notts Hill, because we get this chase back all the way down to the finish. He's going to make it into the final bend. Can Javier Romo hang on? What do you reckon, Adam? Can he do it?
I reckon he's going to get very, very close indeed. It's so hard to close gaps down on the descent, but he has got a pellet. Well, there's a very small group coming back in behind him. You've got Harper here with Plapp on his wheel.
My goodness, the lead out has started, really, hasn't it? Chris Harper's going to see if he can catch everyone. They haven't caught Romo yet, though, and he might just yet hang on. But Luke Plapp obviously had a plan about this finale. Can he get there? It's looking like Javier Romo's going to get the biggest win of his career. He's got about 200 metres to go. And the young Spaniard for Movistar took a flyer on Notts Hill, the first time over that, and he's run away with this. Plapp goes now, but Javier Romo's going to get it. What a ride for the young Spaniard. What a moment. And the sprint opens up behind him too. It's going to be Plapp against, is it Mollema, I think, on the inside, and Narvaez. Narvaez takes a second place. The next of the bonus seconds too. And I think that's Albert Philipsen coming through as well on the inside.